Studio Arts with our 10th session. Last week concluded from the garden with the corn, and since I didn't get to go to the beach this year, I decided, well, let's all go to the beach. So I've collected some of my seashells and put them together, and what I did was I took a photo this time and had it printed out, and you'll be able to have this, you should have this with you to begin. And I took what is called a bird's eye view. So looking down, and I zoomed in. I went ahead and got it sketched out on my 8x10 canvas, and I sketched it with this deep violet, which is almost like a fuchsia. Got all my sketches very loose, and I was a little more gingerly with my application. On the painted background, we painted it prepared. Remember the list I gave you last week? Prepared, our canvas is the first one. And what I did was I mixed my white with a little bit of burnt sienna to get that feeling of sand. And you'll see why later, because we'll take advantage of that with the colors within all the shells. So I'll let you pause and get caught up with me, get your sketch down. I want you to follow the edge. When you start from, I would suggest starting up here and just follow the edge with your paintbrush and move on to the next one. Pay close attention to the way that they overlap and look for the spaces in between. We talk about the negative shape. That's the negative shape. So if you get that shape, the in-between shape correct, it's really, really cool because it gives you the positive shape, the correct positive shape. So as you move your brush over, just get the outer edge. Don't pay attention to all that detail in the middle, just the outer edge, just almost like you were doing a coloring book, the outer edges in black, but you're going to be doing in fuchsia. Just move on slowly, slowly. Don't be afraid about making mistakes. You can see that I quickly did this sketch. It's very loose, and that's what we're going for today, just very loose, painterly. We're at the beach, we're having fun, and we're sketching with paint. So, catching on up, I'm gonna take my medium, I'm gonna use a small brush. I'm attracted to it so much, this angled brush. And I'm gonna go into these negative spaces with my white, pulling it out. And I'm just going to make sure I know where those are, looking in my photo reference. Working quickly. Most of our mixing happens on the canvas. Not worried so much about a perfect coverage. Let that sandy color peek through. Also, if it blends in with some of your sketch lines, that's pretty neat too. That gives you another added element. And then I let some of my shells run off the canvas. Talk about how it's always up to you. I'm going to have my assistant Adrian do a different composition so you can see that you have options. Negative spaces. Nope, that wasn't a negative space, but I know what I'll do. Okay, now I'm going to go in. I already had my burnt sienna was from my mixture that I already had prepared earlier. Pull that out. Okay, so now you're gonna have some of this deep purple and pull out some ultramarine blue, and you're gonna mix those together. And then you're gonna grab a little bit of white and come down here. I'm paying attention to all the darker areas. I'm going to put those in where I see them. Sketching it lightly. It's like a periwinkle. Very pretty. I'm exaggerating what I see. Since I have this overall filled composition, I'm still using my rule of starting from the back and working towards the front, but it's mostly that I'm starting from the back to the front. I'm not doing the top to the bottom so much. Got just a little bit of, okay, yep, some more over here. Now I don't like that harsh edge. And as you'll remember, you can pull off. To get rid of that harsh edge, you're gonna just soften it up. I'm gonna come in with some white. I'm gonna see a little water. See this harsh pieces right here? I'm just gonna soften that up, wiggling it at the edge. Say I want to integrate the dark and the light a little more. I'll pull off my paint on my brush, and then I can soften up just where they meet and feather it. This is called feathering. So I'm kind of pulling the dark into the light and vice versa. See, and it gives that nice smooth transition. It's only going to happen when you've got two wet areas beside each other. Some of these have waited too long, and I'll just have to wet the area a little more. I might have to go back into the purple and kind of hit it at the edge, pulling off, and then I can do my feathering. So you can't pull a dry area, a wet area into a dry area successfully and make it look integrated and smooth. See, all of that, I want to put back some white in there because it's too favorite things to do is beach comb and look for shells. All right. I'm working towards the positive. Got my background kind of settled, and I'm going to go in and start working. And I will just kind of work all over all at once to take advantage of the colors all over. So I'm going to wash my brush and pull out a little bit of burnt sienna and come in and do all these browns that I see. Just plop them in wherever I see them, very loosely. Working the whole canvas at once. I need to feel that drag, you can hear it. Get a little wet, more wet on the brush. Looking at where I see the color, and I can kind of blend and define as I go. My objective is to get the whole canvas covered before I start modifying and refining. Try going into my cadmium yellow. And I'll put a little white in there because that's really bright. I'm going to mix that back into that sand color. Still somewhat wet. I'm going to give a little more water to that from your initial heavy wash. I'm going to put this wherever I see it. Painting the direction of the objects. It's kind of neat because you can really see the way that the shells, the directions that they go. Still life does have movement. Look at that. Real quick. I'm going into the burnt umber. Pull that out. I'm going to mix that with ultramarine blue. That's how I love to get my darks. I don't like to use black. It creates very flat, uninviting spaces. Okay, now add wherever I see these dark areas. Painting them in loosely. for the fun part. Cleaning my brush, really good. Taking advantage, working quickly, go into my white, and I'm gonna blend everything all over with my white. I'm gonna start down here with this predominantly white shell, and oh, it's kind of like the last one I touched, so I can take advantage of its wetness. Painting the direction, I see the little lines moving, curvilinear strokes. Very quickly. Voila. Next one that's white, taking advantage of those blue and umber lines. Okay, watch this. Right around here on the inside. I've got it heavy loaded, so I can just touch this edge. There you go. Right there. Swirl. Pull it off. I've got to make sure that I keep it nice, fresh white. Linear, look at that. Blending all that together. Not fun? Oh my goodness, that's fun. All right. So you get the gist of it. I'm blending these. I'm gonna have full coverage, and then I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna say, I'm not liking the way that this one looks like it's floating way up above, so I'll probably have to go back in with my lavender mixture and give some more shadow up underneath on top of the shell. I'm gonna look for places that overlap, and in my reference here you can see lots of them. I think almost every single one of them is overlapping. So up underneath you're gonna give a little bit more of your lavender, your purple, and your blue mixture with the white, and keep it, you know, look for where it's dark, really dark, and then you're gonna come back on top of that, on the one that's on the top, and you're gonna really squint your eyes and see that it's light. You're gonna add the light. We're gonna play that game. Wherever there's a light, there's a dark. Push-pull across the whole thing. So stay tuned for Adrian, my assistant's version of the Seashells, and I hope you have enjoyed your day at the beach. And next week we'll start into some fall images. Okay, thanks.